Steve Sutton is on the line with us. He's the Vice President of the for Development with the Leadership Institute. LeadershipInstitute.org is the website. Leadership Institute has a training program whose graduates include Senator Mitch McConnell, Grover Norquist, Ralph Reed, and, drumroll, Karl Rove. And Steve Sutton, I understand you. First of all, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tom. It's good to be with you.
I understand that you and your group were the subjects of IRS scrutiny.
Yes, we were. In fact, at the very same time that the nonprofits that were applying for tax-exempt status were being looked at, we were being audited. In fact, the timeline is virtually identical, which makes us think that this is much larger than groups that were applying for nonprofit status. We've been a nonprofit since 1979, and yet we were audited during the same time frame. You're
a 501c4, right?
Nope, we're a C3.
You're a C3. So you disclose your donors, but you have tax-exempt status.
Nope, we do not disclose donors. C3s or 4s do not disclose donors. The difference is in the level of political activity that you can do. We do, and many organizations have a C3 and they also have a C4 to allow them to do more. We do not do that. We're strictly a C3, and we have been since 1979.
So you're a social welfare organization in the same category as a hospital or a school or a community for abused kids, that kind of thing?
Or community organizers or Media Matters or Planned Parenthood, yes.
Right. So what is the social welfare? And by the way, I get your point, and I would put the same question to David Brock, if he was here. What is the social welfare that your organization does that justifies my paying taxes for your police services and fire services and other use of the commons that you don't have to pay for?
That's a great question. I think it is central to part of this debate. People, I think, understand that social welfare doesn't mean that it needs to be socialist or for welfare. Social welfare is a very broad category, and so we are an educational institution. We do training programs. We've got 40 different training programs, and we teach people to get more involved in public policy. And so
you're saying essentially you're a school?
Yes, we have workshops ranging from half a day to 4 days, and that's all we do. And so there's a lot of things that are part of that, but we are a training organization. And so, but many of these other organizations, the IRS has a very broad definition of social welfare because it's very difficult. As you've stated, it's difficult. Where do you draw the line on what that means?
Well, here's one of the things I find interesting about this. One of the arguments that is made by many of your graduates, and certainly people like Mitch McConnell and Grover Norquist and Karl Rove, is that we should only be that the government should only be involved in those specific things that are listed in Article 1, Section 8. And of the Constitution, for which Congress can appropriate funds, like roads for the postal system, that kind of thing, or the Army, right. And yet the opening of Article 1, Section 8 says Congress may appropriate funds. I'm paraphrasing to serve the general welfare of the United States.
Right.
Alexander Hamilton, in his 1791 address to Congress on manufacturers, went into a relatively long rant about how using federal funds to support emerging industries fell under the general welfare clause of Article 1, Section 8, and he was one of the guys who wrote the Constitution, and that when they wrote the Constitution, they intended for that general welfare clause to be as broadly interpreted as Congress felt the need to do, basically. I can read you the exact language, but it's damn close to that.
Right.
To give maximum latitude to Congress in present and future times to meet the needs of the general welfare. Why would there seems to be cognitive dissonance here between people who say that the Constitution saying general welfare should not be interpreted broadly, but the IRS code saying social welfare should be interpreted broadly.
Yeah. I mean, I'm uncomfortable discussing or paraphrasing the founders of over 200 years ago when there was no income tax, as we all know, and trying to read their minds as to what the general welfare and what social welfare, the distinctions between the two. But I do agree with you that this is the job of Congress, and Congress perhaps has not done the job that they need to do to better define what that means, which has forced the IRS to make very tough decisions. The problem in this case, though, is that I think it's generally agreed that the IRS did not apply the same standard in a non-political way, and that is why Eric Holder is launched a criminal investigation. The president has called it unacceptable, intolerable, inexcusable, and so. But I don't disagree with your point, which I think is very valid, that Congress, in general, writes laws that lack definition, that are virtually impossible to decipher, leaving it to the regulatory agencies to do so. And
particularly with the tax code that has to do with nonprofits, which basically means that all the rest of us are subsidizing you and Media Matters with our tax dollars.
Sure. And also, I would add, we're also subsidizing MoveToAmend.org, which you recently today said that people should go to their website and sign an amendment to the Constitution.
And I'm of the opinion that most of these organizations, if they were run as for-profit corporations rather than not-for-profit corporations, probably wouldn't lose most of their donors.
I agree with that. I'm Vice President of Development, so I deal with the fundraising here, and I don't think people donate because of that per se.
Well, in fact, most people don't. The small donors don't even list this on their taxes.
Exactly.
I mean, it's just not worth the trouble.
Right.
And so, would you join me in calling for us to really seriously reevaluate our tax code and say, only organizations that are doing basic, kind of Matthew 25 stuff. I mean, feeding the homeless, healing the sick, that basic core stuff really should be qualify for a subsidy from all the rest of us in terms of not having to pay taxes.
I think I would join you if you went as far as to say that nobody should, because it would be impossible to draw the line. That's the problem. When someone says social welfare, we could all agree on the things that you mentioned, helping the poor and such.
Right.
But what about getting the poor to organize and register to vote, to exercise their constitutional...
Well, here's
and then, so that's where that...
Yeah, then you have the problem, though, that for-profit corporations have to be designed to show a profit first rather than it gets complicated. Anyhow, Steve, we're out of time. I'm sorry. Steve Sutton, Vice President of Development. Hang on just a second.
This is the Thom Hartmann Program.
LeadershipInstitute.org. Steve, thanks for a very civil conversation.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Appreciate it.